everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So it is Monday. It's the beginning of the week. We all know it's my favorite day of the week is Monday. As odd as it might sound, I love Mondays. and last night I got a really good question. I love this question. I love the email. It was very honest and sincere, and I appreciated it. And it was from Tiffany, and she asked me pretty much what she described in the question was, what do you do to remotivate yourself? Like, there's a lot of people out there that once upon a time they got onto raw foods, they felt great, everything was good, and then something happened. Things come up, things change, you get tempted by something, and next thing you know it, you find yourself eating cooked foods again, and a lot of junk food and sugar and all sorts of stuff. And you're also surrounded by people that never eat health foods, and they have beautiful bodies, and they seem to be functioning well, and they're attractive, and they've got everything going for them. And what do? Because you know how good it is to eat healthy foods, but you're addicted again to unhealthy food, and everyone around you is not eating healthy food, and it's really hard to get yourself back on the wagon. And this, I just want to reassure anyone that's going through this, that this is a common thing, okay? Like, anyone that's trying to be healthy, you're doing something, unfortunately, that is against the grain. I mean, you look around, it saddens me a lot is that most people look really unhealthy. You know, most people look really tired. Most people got these like black under their eyes, and their dull complexion, and they're not all that there, and yeah. and that, you know, and it's sad, and unfortunately that's the majority of people. And you go on to something that is super healthy, and you feel great, and you're doing so great, and you feel good, but at the same time you might not be surrounded by a community of people that are doing the same thing. And I want to tell you too, like, in all honesty, I don't have any raw food friends. Like, all my friends eat a standard mainstream diet. Most also are really into junk food and into sugar and they party, they do things, and you know, that's their lifestyle. They're my friends, but they're not at all into being healthy. and here and there some of them are, and they have questions, but they're not ready to immerse themselves into becoming a raw foodist or anything. And the one thing, because Tiffany was describing this situation that she has gone back into eating a lot of junk food with her friends, and everyone's functioning so well, but she feels so terrible, is, she's asking, okay, what do I do? How do I get back on to eating healthy again? But it's so discouraging because everyone around me is doing so well not eating healthy. Now, one thing that first came to mind when I got this email last night was, I was thinking about, this is probably like almost 15 years ago. It's been a long time. When I was first in college, and when I first went to university, I moved to Chicago when I was 17 years old on my own, and I became vegan. I think it was like my first semester in college, and and I think there's something about it. I think a lot of like young people, when they go off, like they leave their family, they're finding themselves, and I'd already been a vegetarian since I was about 12 years old, that it was sort of like the next level, the next stage. And I did it for a couple of months, and I was never much of a big dairy eater, okay? Like I mentioned this before, I wasn't really into pizza, I didn't like cheese at all. And the only form of dairy that I was ever having was either ice cream or it being mixed into my food, like things being made with dairy products. That was the big issue for me. It wasn't so much the actual eating of a dairy product, because I didn't really have like milk straight up, and I didn't have that much ice cream, and I didn't go near the cheese. It was more of it being mixed in as an ingredient, sort of in the bread or in the muffin or the pastry, or or hot chocolate. It was things like that. So I got off the dairy for a couple of months, and then one day I just broke down. And I'll never forget this day too, because I had like a full-on, like what I called a dairy fiesta. Like I went out and got everything that had dairy in it, and I just had like this little party to myself. And I was really sick afterwards. And I was really sick after eating dairy for years after that. Okay, like years and years and years, like where I was convinced that I became lactose intolerant because I went vegan. And I thought this for a very long time. I thought that because I went vegan, it messed me up, and I could no longer ever digest dairy products again. Little did I, it was only until like, recent years that I look back at that, I'm like, no, like that's so backwards. I was probably lactose intolerant my entire life, but didn't know until I went vegan, started feeling really great, and then went back to the foods that I ate previously, and there I realized how sick it was making me. But it was probably making me sick my entire life, but I was so used to it. And that's my answer to Miss Tiffany out there is, you're looking for inspiration to get yourself back into eating healthy, and you're looking at your friends and they're all eating crap food and they seem to be fine. But what is their level of fine? One thing I always think about is, it's kind of like, do I want to be average? Or do I want to be like a superhero? Do I want to be like a rock star? I don't want to be average. Most people are average. Most people are eating an average diet and getting average results, and we just think that's normal. And we've come to accept that as normal. And then we look at people and how they function on eating a lot of crap and just living off of sugar and stimulants and being like, well, they function. But what does that mean? And I think what I suggest to you is do an experiment where you take really good care of yourself. Do it for 30 days straight, okay, where you eat the purest and the best food. You drink the best water, you get the best sleep, you take super care of yourself, you exercise every day. Do everything you can to like nurture yourself. And then at the end of that 30 days, I want you to ask yourself, is there a difference between how you feel right now and how you felt 30 days before? Huge difference. Have you ever felt that good in your entire life? Can anyone relate to how great you feel at that moment after putting in the time and the effort to take care of yourself? Because the main thing is, you start to realize is that maybe your entire life you thought what felt good was actually just maybe getting by. Was actually maybe just being average. That, in fact, just by adding in a few really good things into your lifestyle and taking a few things that are sucking the energy out of you and the life out of you, that you might actually realize and be like, whoa, I never felt this great in my entire life. I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know I can feel this good. I didn't know I could look this good. I didn't know I can function and live this well. Okay, so that's what I want you to think about is what are your standards? And think about, maybe raising them, because it's your life. You can do whatever you want. All right, so I am wishing you guys a fabulous, incredible, amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.